Alright, I figured I'll make a, weekly anarchist video because, it's another week and I should make another weekly anarchist video. So I'll make it a reply video to this black acid lizard. So this is basically one of these anarchist guys, doesn't go for the Steph bot stuff. But kind of thinks human beings will get along somehow and won't kill each other, and has a name like Black Acid Lizard. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So anyway, I'll just respond to key points in the video.
Leave behind the monopoly on violent force and interact in a more voluntaristic fashion.
And well, look, this monopoly on violence thing, this argument about the violence of the state is just stupid, because there's going to be the violence of the gang, the group, the mafia, the mob, whatever it is that you create some collective out of. All you're doing is saying this is basically this anarchy crap. All it really comes down to is the same anti-federalist kind of viewpoint, like somehow we're better off with 50 individual states with individual playing individual games, trying to seduce the rich and export the poor and play these stupid games, and somehow human beings would be better off belonging to gangs than to have something like an eternal constitution or a perfect constitution or some sort of perfect ethics. I've made this metaphor before, but life is a game, okay, basically, and you're just talking about creating rules that make the game playable, that make it enjoyable, make it watchable, make it a good competition, not a destructive competition. And you're not going to get that. If everybody gets to come to the field with their own playbook, it's just going to be crap.
That business model doesn't really seem to be something that is viable. Like how you said that it becomes a mafia state, as if we're not a mafia state now. And then you say, as we can...
Yeah, well, we're not. We're fundamentally different. You can't argue with the mob, okay? You can't argue with the Godfather. We can argue with our democracy. We can fight with it. We can engage it. We can motivate it. We can push it. We can pull on it. We have some hope. You're not going to get anywhere in some sort of authoritarian hierarchy. And if you create a bunch of mini democracies built out of segregated populations, then you're just going to have, it's just going to be gangs with self-interests that are competing with each other, and that competition is going to be corrosive, not productive.
See from the movies, which is an excellent argument. I mean, the argument for movies is a steadfast one, because...
Oh, it's just petty bullshit. I made the analogy in the argument just to say that, yeah, people have seen movies like The Streets of New York or The Gangs of New York, and they've seen The Godfather, and they can extrapolate in their own minds. They can sit there and run the program, okay? They can run the scenarios that would exist in a real world that was controlled by these entities, that weren't controlled by a government, where a government never stepped in. There'd be dead people in restaurants all over the place if there wasn't some government that might impose some accountability and throw some people in jail now and then. And that's all I was using the TV analogy for, butthead.
As we can see, there are still movies being made which proclaim or put forward the idea that a Leninist style of state will lead to some sort of great peace and prosperity, although every time that's been experimented with, it has led to the exact opposite. So,
oh yeah, another great argument. You talk about petty, stupid argumentation, and then you use a petty, stupid argumentation. Who goes out deliberately to create a Leninist state? Okay, what? So you're saying that there are only two choices in the world too, or you're the same kind of asshole? Anarchy or communism? There's nothing else, right? Those are the only two fucking choices: is complete control or complete non-control. I mean, god damn, that is just so infantile.
Becoming a state, they will most likely withdraw their funding and support of that group if they're truly worried about a state's emergence. Now,
yeah, no, what they're going to truly be worried about is that their mob is the hardest ass, meanest, baddest ass mob there is. If you're going to join a gang, you're going to join the kick-ass gang. You're not going to join the wimpy, meek gang. No, you're going to join the gang that is ruthless to the cutthroat as possible, because you're going to be figuring it's in your interest. You want somebody who's going to, it's like, you're going to bet on somebody in a fight. You're going to bet on the biggest guy. You're not going to bet on the little runty guy.
Be lumping in all anarchists with this cult of Stefan Molyneux thing. Of course, anarchistic theory predates Stefan Molyneux.
Oh, well, look, I wasn't doing that lumping. I was arguing with a particular anarchist, and he said, well, go here, listen to this, okay, as his argument, because he wasn't going to make the argument himself, so he said, yeah, go listen to this crap. So I go and I listen to the crap. I listened to it before, but I listened to it again, all right, and that's what I made my argument based on. And you're not coming up with anything, okay? You still got the question to answer, okay? If you're going to have a state where you don't go with his DROs, where you don't go with his idea, where everybody's fingerprinted and everybody has ID cards and everybody knows who everybody is, or if you go with an anarchy state, well, then you're going to have to explain how you're going to, how there's any practical possibility whatsoever for you to impose accountability for people who just outright cheat the system, okay? Who maybe, have a coal mine and extract coal and extract a whole bunch of money and then just take that fuck off and leave a big pile of dread and doom behind in their wake. Or even the simplest crime, a child molester. Yeah, so he could just walk into an area, do his little duty, and walk the fuck out. I mean, there's no fucking way this would work. So how are you going to impose accountability? Or else you're going to have a fence around your territory or your mob. You're going to have to fence it off from the rest of the fucking world. Or you're not going to have any civilization. You're not going to have any ability to let your kid walk 10 feet away from you.
To enact. So once someone is dead, insurance companies are just going to drop them and not take action on their behalf. I'm curious as to how you would explain life insurance then.
Yeah, well, I'd explain a lot of ways. I mean, there's a court system, okay, and there's been plenty of court cases that involved insurance companies that gave them to pay off. Actually, one of the most famous cases that has to do with summary judgment decisions made in courts, in this state anyway, was an insurance claim, because the insurance company said, no, he wasn't really covered, and they said, yes, he really was, and there was a whole argument about that, but there was a court system to go to resolve the dispute. And if the dispute wasn't resolved that way, an insurance company under your system could just take people's premiums, and when it was time to pay off, say if there was a big flood or there was a big something, they just say, hell with it. We're not going to pay off. We're just going to take off and live in France.
Well, there is no absolute insurance on people's security no matter what. And the experience with fatality...
Well, it's not about absolutes. It's about having some sort of practical, pragmatic system that works. And generally speaking, our system does work when it comes to deterring crime.
I'll tell you that my arsenal, or the possibility that I have an arsenal, is a lot more of a deterrent to thieves and muggers and anyone else than these police motherfuckers roaming around the street.
Yeah, all right. So, let's just presume that these people that might be doing crime aren't complete idiots. Okay? What happens when you're off at McDonald's or something? And they break into your house. They can steal your arsenal, right? And whatever else your arsenal is intended to protect. There's not a whole lot of people that are, yes, of course, psychotics that are psychotics. All right, but usually they're not going to go try to rape you. It's usually going to be after some more vulnerable woman who's not likely to be as comfortable with weapons and all the rest of that crap as you are. So this whole idea that somehow this does some value is just bullshit. I mean, a criminal with a small amount of intelligence can figure out not to steal a car when somebody's still in it. Most of them can figure that out. And most of them can figure out if they're going to thieve from you, they're going to do it when you're not in your house.
Blackwater is not really a private company. They gain their money directly from the money that you and I never agreed to pay them.
Oh, well, come on. It is a private company making big profits off of the U.S. government. Big deal, but it's still a private corporation. It's not regulated by us, we the people, or any of that other crap. And the scenario is a valid comparison, because that's, yeah, of course, we don't have private military companies all over the place that can work for individuals. If a corporation decided to hire Blackwater, you know, to impose or to go collect cable rates or something, everybody would be a little pissed off. So yeah, obviously a paramilitary organization isn't going to have a whole lot of use in the United States of America, because the Americans are going to say fuck you to that. All right, but in your world, that's going to come in very handy. If I'm going to join a DRO, if I'm going to join a mob, yeah, I want them to be all Blackwatery. You know, I want them to do lots of coverty kind of crap, because that's going to be to my personal advantage. And I know the other guy is going to be doing it, and so I got to do it first. It's going to be, you know, do unto others before others can do unto you. That's going to be the ethic of your stupid anarchy world.
Act as if the people in government aren't in there for their own benefit. Of course they are. They're there for their own profit, and they are...
yeah, well, so this is the stupid argument, though. So yeah, I have my complaints about our government and the lack of accountability that exists in our government, and that we need to fix our democracy. We need to impose more accountability.